Guests, faculty, and graduates, welcome. My name is Charles Wright, American Fork High School Student Body President. It is my pleasure to conduct tonight's graduation ceremony. We would like to recognize Principal Weishar and our district representative, Sarah Beeson, who will address us this evening. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Sierra Carter, followed by my remarks. Then we will hear from Jack Brady, Audrey Flood, and Michael Garret.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
First off, I'd like to start by thanking COVID-19 because without that virus, we would be stuck in the hot and smelly Marriott Center. I'd like to start off with a brief analogy. As the graduating class of 2020, I'd like us to imagine ourselves as being born as pure gold. We were worth so much as babies, but we were weak and malleable. We grew up a little. We learned how to read. We learned how to be good drivers, well, at least most of us. And we learned that friends could potentially become girlfriends or boyfriends. We are now seniors and on our way to becoming the strongest type of gold, one that cannot break and one that will stand till the end of time. We have become stronger students, better friends, and great leaders. We have had more than enough adversity and setbacks as a class. That only makes us tough. When I look back at my years at AF High, I will think about the toughness and dominance of my peers. Dominant, like the girls' soccer team, who have won 2 out of the last 3 state championships. Dominant, like our football team, who have made deep playoff runs the last 3 years. Dominant, like our marching band. Need I say more? Their excellence is known around the world. Dominant, like our state-winning drama department, who amazed me and many others at their numerous shows and plays. Dominant, like our award-winning choir. Every time I hear them, I mistake them for Josh Groban. There is no telling what the class of 2020 can accomplish. I love this school. I love my teachers. I love my parents, as do all of you. But most importantly, I love my peers. I'm honored to have had the chance to walk the halls with all of you. My last message is to you guys. Go, do, create, laugh, live, and love. Thank you.
Cavemen, we did it. We graduated. And I miss you guys. I miss seeing your faces, and I miss being around you at lunch, school events, or just making our way through cramped hallways. I miss everything about my experiences at dear old AF High. And because of you guys, I'm never going to forget it. Thank you. But you guys, we were robbed. We were robbed of the best term of our lives. Much of what we looked forward to is gone, and it stinks. My heart goes out to our spring sports athletes, club members, and anyone else whose senior experiences were cut short. I feel for you guys, because the sudden change influenced a lot of what we do and love. And I know for a fact that as cavemen, we would have wrapped up this final chapter of our lives right. Whether it was kicking butt at games and events with our teams, polishing up our grades, or living up our final days of our childhood. Everything we would have accomplished, had life been normal, would have been incredible. We would have basked in what we had become. All of those spectacular accomplishments would have been incredible, but what we are achieving now is not only of equal significance, but is even more incredible. The drastic change of direction that our lives have taken due to this global pandemic has and will continue to positively develop us as people, citizens, and cavemen. And let me tell you why. The fundamental concept that all 716 of us as the American Fork High School Class of 2020 represent. Pride. The world defines pride as a feeling one feels through accomplishment. And we, as cavemen, take pride in our many accomplishments, such as our learning, our interactions, our extracurricular programs. And now, we take pride in what we can become when we are stripped of the chance to loop the knot that ties together everything that the past 12 years of our lives has led up to. We are a class proud of what we have lost because it has shaped us to who we have become, which is a class who knows how to create the best from the worst, a class who knows how to maneuver through challenges with work or education, a class who knows how to resourcefully spread positivity, and a class who recognizes the value of life, the value of the connections we have made with one another, and now the value of toilet paper and fast food. Not in 118 years has any class in the history of American Fork High been given the chance to take pride in their accomplishments as we have. Now, I speak again to every club member, athlete, and caveman when I say that even if you feel like you didn't contribute a whole lot to this year, that you are unique, you are incredible, and you, right now, are accomplishing more than you ever did in high school. Take pride in knowing that, and take pride in continuing this journey of trial. Because leaving American Fork High School are not only 716 seniors, but 716 perfect examples that infinite amounts of good can come from something bad. I love you guys. You're my friends, my classmates, and my family. And I'm gonna miss you. And my final call to action for you guys is to continue to grow, continue to learn, and always take pride in your strength through adversity. But most importantly, always be proud to be a caveman. Woo!
I feel so lucky that I get to stand here and give thanks to the people who have been with us since the beginning. These are the people who have stood by us through the 18 years of life we've lived so far. I'm here to say thank you to the parents, but not just the mother and father types of parents. This is also to the villages of people who have been with us along the way. So, to the grandparents, aunts, uncles, guardians, neighbors, local leaders, coaches, and anyone else who has been a parent to us, thank you for getting us to where we are today. I think that all of us students can agree that there's no possible way we would be here at graduation without our parents. They've taught us everything from riding a bike to dealing with disappointment. They've sat through all of our concerts, games, meets, plays, events, competitions, and banquets just to see us doing what we love. They often paid for these things too. Seriously, students, think about all of the Beto's burritos that our parents could have bought with the money from our fees. That's so many burritos. Not only have parents been there in the good times, but they were also there when times were tough. I can't imagine how many times our parents wanted to roll their eyes as we cried about our trivial crushes, drama, and failed tests, but they were still understanding and they helped us through our difficulties. This year has presented unique challenges to parents unlike any that the world has faced before. Instead of just being our parents, which already takes an incredible amount of effort and strength, they've stepped up and taken on the roles of teachers, administrators, friends, and professionals in their own fields, all while being at home. This pandemic has put an insane amount of stress on parents, but they've stepped up to the plate and worked through all of it. Parents, thank you for showing us what it truly means to persevere. Although they may be jumping for joy at the thought of us finally getting out of the house, we know they're secretly sad that we're moving on. They watch us take our first steps, and now our parents are right here with us as we take the next big steps in life. So finally, to all our parents out there, thank you for being there for us every step of the way.
To truly understand how much our staff at American Fork High School has influenced us, we must first imagine what our lives would be like without them. I'm serious. I want you all to take a second and think of what your high school experience would have been like without the specific American Fork High School staff. This year is especially unique because it is our beloved principal, Mr. Weishar's, final year. Mr. Weishar has not only influenced the 716 students in our class, but thousands of other students have been changed for the better because he was in their life. And for that, we thank you. There's a quote from a movie I love called Remember the Titans. Attitude reflects leadership. What a moving statement. Especially when it's related to the faculty leaders of our school. Mr. Weishar is always willing to brighten someone's day. He makes a point of it. I really am going to miss getting a snippet of inspiration each Monday and Friday when Mr. Weishar gives us his classic "See You at the Top" speech. Although high school wasn't easy by any means, our attitude was optimistic because Mr. Weishar inspired us to be. Remember the question I asked you moments ago? How would your high school experience have changed without the staff of American Fork? No inspiring speeches with Mr. Weishar, no funny lectures by Beeson, no more being called a physics with tech child by Crosby. Well, Mr. Crosby, we aren't children anymore. This physics with tech child has officially become a physics with tech man. And who would be there to tell us to stop having fun if we didn't have Joe Atwood? We thank you for what you have done for this class. When I think of what my high school experience would have been like without our specific staff, one vital lesson comes to mind that I know I wouldn't have learned with anybody else. That lesson is this: the success of a life is not obtained through recognition by the world, but it is obtained by brightening and influencing the lives of those God put around you. Let me explain how the teachers do just that. As I've pondered the current situation we are in regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, I've noticed a side effect of quarantine that may go unnoticed. I call it the magnifying glass effect. Quarantine has put a magnifying glass that shines the light on the foundation of who we are and what we do. In other words, it shows us the kind of people we truly are. I wasn't surprised when I saw the foundation of our staff was nothing short of radiant. Lunch ladies no longer served us lunch, but actually prevented hunger by handing out lunches to students in need. Counselors and advocates were no longer arranging schedules, but making sure each student was safe by checking on each one of us individually. The administration can no longer host a normal graduation, but reinvented traditional graduation into a unique event that will not soon be forgotten. While the rest of us were figuring out how to become TikTok famous this quarantine, our teachers were working diligently to help us realize that we, at our core, are radiant as well. And although there's no doubt Mr. Weishar could be TikTok famous if he desired to be, he chooses instead to put a smile on all of our faces. That's something I, nor anybody watching this, will ever forget. The staff has prepared us not only for our successes, but they have prepared us for our failures as well. And we will fail. But because of them, we will be able to brush it off and keep moving forward. And for that, we thank you. Thank you for creating the wonderful experience we called high school. I now briefly would like to talk to the students. You know, there really aren't a lot of things in a person's life that really stand out as you look back over it. Most of the days are filled with mundane tasks and responsibilities that aren't particularly exciting. But today isn't one of those days. Thanks to the careful planning of the staff, today will be a day that will stand out in your life forever. So don't waste it. Show your appreciation for your family and especially your teachers. I cannot wait to see what the class of 2020 does with what the staff has provided for us, because I know it will be better than anything the world has even imagined. Finally, Mr. Weishar, thank you for all you have done to make high school a positive scene. After the many times you've said it to us, this is the thanks, last of all, we say to you. We will see you at the top, because you have showed us the way there. Thank you.
We invite you to enjoy our virtual musical number by our combined choir, which can be found on the school YouTube channel and in the Google Drive link that was shared in advance of this evening. Please enjoy this senior video produced by our very own Cave Creative. This video will be followed by remarks from our salutatorians Peter Jensen, Jackie Nguyen, followed by American Fork High School valedictorian Caleb Crowther. Principal Weishar will then address us, followed by Alpine School Board Representative Sarah Beeson.
24 hours, we've seen 34 new cases of COVID-19 here.
And we begin right now with that big development. Utah schools sending students home for the next 2 weeks.
Senior year for the class of 2020 has been one to remember.
How grateful I am that I've had the opportunity to be an American Court Caveman.
We're just so thankful for all that you guys do. You guys have helped shape
this section and yelled our heart outs and then got a sore throat from it.
It's actually been great. Made a lot of good friendships. A lot of
What does it mean to reach the top? To stretch higher than you ever stretched? To work harder than you ever worked? To push the boundary of the unknown, the unthinkable, the impossible? In 1969, 3 men literally did just that. They became the highest travelers in human history, not on the peak of a high mountain or in the seat of a still higher plane, but on the tip of a rocket, destined to introduce mankind to an entirely new world. Just over 50 years ago, the crew of the Apollo 11 mission found themselves at the top. And I think there are 2 big lessons that can be learned here, because if school has taught me anything, it's that you can find a deeper meaning in anything. So, number 1, look up. For centuries, humans have been entranced by the moon, the bright spectacle in a dark sky hanging mysteriously, yet constant. It has been adored, idolized, and studied until we finally figured out how to reach it. What is the moon that shines in the dark skies of your future? What distant goal fascinates, compels, and calls to you? And most importantly, can you see yourself landing there one day? Perhaps your moon is a full bright orb, or perhaps it's the dim glimmer of a crescent. But consider the advice of Lewis Carroll's Cheshire Cat. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Number 2, look around. The moon landing involved the work of several hundreds of thousands of people, without whom no dusty footprints would now mark a giant leap made by mankind. Whether or not you succeed in reaching your moon is your responsibility, but that does not mean you have to do it alone. Maybe you do feel alone. Maybe you feel alone taking that test, or running that race, or standing up for yourself. Maybe it feels like there are more than 200,000 miles of emptiness between you and any thought of comfort, and you ask yourself, is it worth what I've done so far to keep on going now? Look around. Remember your teachers, your coaches, your parents, your friends. Remember what they have done for you. Are you truly alone? It is worth the effort to continue, and it seems paradoxical, but you bring those who support you up with you, just as Apollo 11 brought an entire nation, an entire world to the moon. Acknowledge the people who help you achieve your dreams, because when you feel most alone, they will be alongside you in the cockpit, and they will be cheering from mission control. Now, as you go on to do the amazing things that this truly unique class of graduates is destined to do, don't forget to look up to where you want to go, and don't forget to look around to those who make it possible. Don't forget to make each day, each moment, one small step closer to your moon. And how do we do this? I'll let the poet Shel Silverstein explain. How many slams in an old screen door? Depends how loud you shut it. How many slices in a bread? Depends how thin you cut it. How much good inside a day? Depends how good you live them. How much love inside a friend? Depends how much you give them. And with that, I'll take the liberty to add one final line. How high will you reach one day? Depends on where you're looking. Thank you.
1,011 days ago, we walked into the halls of American Fork High School for the first time as sophomores. 76 days ago, we unknowingly walked out of the school for the last time as seniors. Despite all the odds, we have still managed to come this far and to celebrate graduation together as a class. I've been in marching band for 3 years, and honestly, my first year is a blur of sunscreen, sweat, and soreness. I had maybe 3 or 4 rehearsals before our first parade camp where we would march a parade every day. The blazing sun would beat down upon us constantly. My muscles screamed for relief and my mouth begged for water. I remember lining up in the parade block trying to figure out how I got myself into this situation in the first place when Mr. Siemens, the former band director, called us to attention. I will never forget the first statement he told us. Embrace the suck. It's a military term that means we should accept unpleasant but unavoidable issues for further progress. There will always be hardships and less enjoyable parts of life. No one would rather write a 10-page paper over the weekend than hang out with their friends. No one would rather wake up at 6 a.m. every morning to go to school than to sleep in until 12. No one would rather start studying for a test 2 weeks in advance than binge the latest show on Netflix. Nonetheless, we do them anyway. But by doing so, we're able to focus more on the positives that make our experience great. Instead of complaining about the circumstances I couldn't change, I'd rather appreciate and concentrate on what made me happy. I would savor the moments at lunch where my friends and I would enjoy the weather outside and debate over who had the craziest dream. I'd look forward to every Monday and Friday when Mr. Weishar would impart his words of wisdom and anticipate the moment he would say, "And I'll see you at the top. Be there." I'd be appreciative and am still heavily grateful for all the teachers that would support me, care for me, and push me to be the best I could be. So thank you to Mr. Weishar, the teachers, and the administration that made our time in high school memorable. To this day, parades are still awful, but I do not regret any of them. Each parade made me stronger. Adversities will always exist in life. They may be unexpected, unpredictable, and unpleasant. But by acknowledging that it's okay that these events may be difficult, we're able to push through them and cherish the more meaningful aspects of life. So whether you decide to go on your mission, go to college, go straight into the workforce, or follow a different path entirely, you will continue to move forward in life. So embrace the suck and push forward.
As a junior, I was plagued by a severe case of early onset senioritis. School is hard. I wanted to be done and move on. I worried that if I felt that way then, how was I going to get through my senior year? My focus was on the intangible future, but I needed to learn to love to live now. For example, in cross country, I grudgingly endured the workouts, motivated by the prospect of trophies and medals. I focused on avoiding the regret of not trying my hardest, but because I was only motivated by the future, it was heartbreaking when I failed to get as fast as I expected and my hoped-for future didn't come. As my final cross-country season progressed, I realized that I needed to learn to love to run. I needed to want to go to practice because I wanted to run. And if I couldn't, then cross-country wasn't the sport for me. That realization liberated me. I embraced the feeling that I could run forever, even if I wasn't at the front of the pack. Flying down the road, that transcendent sense that I was unlocking some profound strength I felt only in those moments. This helped me see that while it's tempting to live for future events, right now is when we're alive. We can learn from Winnie the Pooh when he asked Piglet, "What day is it?" "It's today," squeaked Piglet. "My favorite day," said Pooh. It may feel like the last 12 years of our lives have existed solely to culminate with this moment. We finally did it. And by all means, we should feel a sense of accomplishment. But life isn't just this moment. Life is all the moments. The joy you feel as you walk outside at lunch, that day during third term and are reminded what spring smells like, but also the day you have to park in the range and walk all the way to the school in sub-zero temperatures. Life is lapping with a friend or two at lunch, but it's also when you can't find anyone to eat with, so you sit and ponder and watch instead. It's the day you squeeze into a tiny auditorium so packed you have to share a seat with a friend to watch the school play, as well as the day an old man at the park scolds you for not social distancing. It's even that day when you dejectedly ride home from a lost state championship, but you still manage to be grateful for the journey that brought you there. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's been said. It's about learning to dance in the rain. We, the class of 2020, are now high school graduates. Whether you have already excitedly packed your bags for your next adventure, or the thought of what's to come terrifies you, we can be the class that remembers that every day is a day to feel and to interact and to love and to thrive. The future will come when it comes, so let's learn to love to live now.
Good evening, seniors. It's so wonderful to be with you and here with you and your parents, your guardians, and your loved ones. So happy to be here with you. Parents, thank you for sending nothing but the very best each year. Each year, the students get better and better and better. We've had excellent speakers thus far. They've done a wonderful job, and they've been heartfelt talks. And they've shared everything that they feel that they wanted you to know, seniors, representing for you and your future. The music, when you listen to the music, it's just wonderful and beautiful, and I hope you enjoy that. Now, there are so many people here, seniors, who love you and want the best for you. And not only people in your inner circle, but also your teachers and your counselors, your support staff, your administration. Yep, we love you. We're proud of you. I love you. I'm so glad that you've done what you've done and you're here today. It took you 13 years. It's time, right? Now, seniors, even though we have a change on how we're celebrating the rite of your passage into the new life, the enthusiasm this time has not changed. You see, you only have 0 Fridays left. Only 0. Gotta love that, right? Now, seniors, my turn to speak. Some words of wisdom. Good evening, students. It's me, Mr. Weishar, with a few words of wisdom. It's the year 2020, and the year to expand your vision and help you grow and mature and become much, much better as the years roll on. There's a story told of a young lady named Brenna. Now, Brenna lived in Southern California, and her parents were golf pros, and they ran a golf course. Beautiful golf all around. And she would go golfing every day for 9 holes. And one morning, she was getting ready to go golf, and she says, "Mom, I'm getting ready to go golf." And she said, her mom told her, "Great, go golfing. See you in a couple hours. I'll have lunch for you." So Brenna was off she went. Went to the first hole. It's a par 4, dogleg right, and took out her driver and hit a nice, beautiful shot. Went down to the right, got a par, and she was done. But the next hole was an elevated par 3. Now, that's a little bit different because when you hit that ball, you can't see when it lands on the green where it goes. She got up to the tee box, pulled out her 7-iron that she always hits on the second hole. And as she was getting ready to tee off, she can hear in the background a train that goes by every day when she goes. And it's a long haul going up behind the course. So she got done. She hit her ball, and up it went, soared beautifully, and landed on the green, and out of sight it went. As she started walking towards the green to get her ball for the second shot, she got up to the top of the green, and she remembered her father always telling her, "You only have 4 balls golf balls to go golfing with because you can't lose any." Her dad, as a coach and a pro, was always coaching her how to play the game, along with other things as a father to teach her. So she went up there and she started looking for the golf ball. She couldn't find it. She's looking all over for it. She goes, "Oh, my dad's going to coach me hard on this one." She started walking and looking, and finally she got towards the cup, and there it was, her golf ball. It was in the hole. She got a hole in one. She was so excited. She looked all around, and there was nobody there. But she knew she had a hole in one. She ended up taking that golf ball, put it in her pocket because she wanted to save it, and got another one of the other 3 balls in her bag to go ahead to finish the round. She finished the round, got back up towards the clubhouse, and there was her mom out there waiting. She goes, "Mom, guess what? I got a hole in one." And her mom said, literally, Great job, Brenna. Go clean your clubs. Lunch is just a moment. Please go tell your dad. Your dad would probably want to know. And so she went over to her dad and said, Dad, I got a hole in one on hole number 2. And the par 3 elevated. And his dad says, that's really good, sweetheart. Did anybody see it? No. Well, honey, a lot of people come off that golf course and they have these great stories. But unless someone sees it, it's really an official, unofficial hole in one. And Brenna thought, there's Dad teaching me again, but he's right. And off she went. 2 weeks later, her father was in the pro shop and he was reading, and all of a sudden you could hear him laughing loudly. And Brenna goes, I wonder what Dad's laughing about. Went into the golf shop, said, Dad, what are you laughing about? And he handed her a postcard. And on the postcard it said, Dear Golf Pro, my name is Ken Ray. I work for Santa Fe Railroad. I'm on a train every day up and down behind your golf course. On this particular day, I saw a young lady hit a golf ball up into an elevated green. No one else was around, and I know how important it is that somebody witnessed something like that. So I'm sending you this postcard to let you know that she got a hole in one. Now, that's a great story for Brenna. And the thing is that I'm going to share with you in the next few moments is that there's a lot of times in your life that you do things officially, unofficial. And you may think no one's noticing, but people do notice. You know, all during the year, I have shared with you about we're all more alike than we are different. Do you remember that in all the assemblies? And I would ask you this. What does that mean? What is that? What does that sound? And you would say, it's a heartbeat, Weishar. I said, that's right. We're all more alike than we are different. We all have a heart. And we all have one heart, one mind, and one purpose. Now, remember how we celebrated that? I would say, one heart, one mind, one purpose. Give me a heartbeat on 3. 1, 2, 3, snap, snap. And you would do it. And we'd all be in unison. Now, with that in mind, I called the Guinness Book of World Records, and I asked them, we would like to set a world record at Brigham Young University. And we would like just to be able to do 2 claps representing a heartbeat with all the parents, everybody surrounding that arena, and you seniors. And they said, sure, you can do that. And I said, awesome. Well, how much will that cost? He goes, well, to do that, it cost you $12,000. And I said, oh, well, thank you. So we're not going to do that, but we're still going to break a record, but we're going to call it a caveman record. So seniors, if we were in the arena, but now you're at home virtually, start off with you. As I've always said, one heart, one mind, one purpose. Give me a heartbeat on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great example. Now, parents, seniors, everyone virtually, for a world record, virtually, give me a heartbeat on 3. 1 heart, 1 mind, 1 purpose. Heartbeat on 3. 1, 2, 3. I heard it. I heard it. So you have to know that there will be many times that you will do something that no one will notice. The world did not know you just broke a world record. Now, there are some witnesses. I want you to imagine that you got a postcard. This one right here. You saw it in your diploma packet when you got it. You're probably thinking, I wonder what this is. It's like a postcard giving you a record that you actually did break a world record. And right on there, you have my signature and the board member of Alpine Schools District, Sarah Beeson. And so now you have this as evidence that it was official but unofficial. Now, students, with that in mind, my closing comments. You will break a lot of records in your life. You will make a difference with so many people. And sometimes people won't recognize that out loud, but they will know quietly what you've done all along your life. The next 40 years, 50 years, you will change the world because that's the kind of people you are. Now you're probably asking, how do you know that, Weishar? How do you know that we'll break records? How do you know that we'll do things that are official, unofficial? How do you know that? Well, I know that. You know why I know that? Because you all know how to work hard. You're smart. You keep and follow all the rules. Because you're that person, you do it for the cave, we'll see you at the top. Be there. Thank you. Now, students, parents, this is the part that I transfer something very special. I would like you to know, and Sarah Beeson, our board member who is here, she'll be coming up in just a moment, that Mrs. Beeson, I certify and we have prepared all these students for graduation. They fulfilled the commitment, the requirements set forth by the Utah State Office of Education, the requirements set forth by the Alpine School District Board of Education. So without further ado, I present to you the perfect vision, the class of 2020. Mrs. Beeson.
Mr. Weishar, on behalf of Alpine School District Board of Education, I happily accept the graduates of American Fork High School, class of 2020. Graduates, it's such a privilege to be with you on this historic occasion, and it has been historic. There hasn't been a class that has graduated in a pandemic in over 100 years. So I'm going to be brief. 2 things. 1, adversity is inevitable. 2, adversity is temporary, and the only permanent thing is how you react or respond and what you become as a result. Oscar Wilde said this about education. Education is an admirable thing, but it's important to remember every once in a while that nothing worth learning can be taught. And I add, things worth learning can be revealed. That's our conscience. Your conscience has taught you something in this historic time. You will do amazing things. We are proud of you and your resilience. Congratulations, class of 2020.
Graduates, please stand. Please move your tassel from the right side to the left side of your cap. Congratulations, we did it!
Thank you for joining us, and congratulations, class of 2020. We did it! We invite you at this time to enjoy the celebratory fireworks from your yards and your vehicles. Remember, we are proud to be cavemen.